Congleton and Rushden Spencer, it's in Cheshire, in December 2020 and January 21. He didn't respond to requests by the police to review the CCTV footage. He probably thought you've got better things to do. And he later contacted the CCTV contractor to say, can you just wipe any pictures of people eating mince pies and drinking wine in my club, please? And then they dobbed him into the police as well.
Yeah, I think if you're going to start putting people down simply for, A, breaking COVID regulations, B, then trying to pervert the court of justice, but if you're actually sending somebody to prison for 6 months for being anti-establishment, that's, frankly, slightly terrifying.
It is.
And I think, as a great Orwell fan myself, I do find that rather chilling. But also, you know, this show and the rest of the channel wouldn't manage to get any guests if you're going to start arresting people for being anti-establishment.
And find out what has some people done to be sent down for 6 months, and then draw a comparison. Muggings, violent attacks, who get 6 months. And this is a 72-year-old.
Absolutely. And if he is anti-disestablishment, actually, we were saying earlier, anti-disestablishmentarianism, I think is the longest word in the English language.
I can't believe I knew something about words that Kathy Lette doesn't, but actually, it's pseudo-anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Excellent.
Word in English.
Top trumps here.
Yeah.
But if he does go to jail, jail is just a university for crime. You'll just learn how to do better crimes now and get away with it.
Well, I mean, the poor guy, he's 72 years old. I mean, it's the Public Health Act, isn't it, that the government used to clamp down on people and impose restrictions during lockdown. So these acts still there loitering in the background. You know, they haven't completely removed these powers. You were at university during lockdown then, William. Did you adhere to every rule and every ridiculous restriction on your freedoms?
I must admit, no, we didn't necessarily sort of follow every restriction, but that's because...
Of course, you're a Tory.
Yeah, well, yeah,
it's in your DNA.
But
we know that.
We were young and silly, and the rules, they changed so quickly that often we got quite confused about them. And I think, you know, I was told off by college basically a few times for being slightly naughty, but then all of us were, you know, and for those of us who were lucky enough to actually get back to university during the year when so many people were forced to, you know, stay at home, it became incredibly difficult all the time to adhere to all the rules. At the same time, you know, I have lots of elderly relatives, so I understood why some of the restrictions are in place as much as I might have disliked them, and I always, you know, sanitise my hands and all the rest. But yeah, I think what is as terrifying, as you say, there is a lot of this legislation is still on the statute book, and I think I agree with Lord Sumption that a lot of it was taken beyond what it was originally supposed to be designed to do. But more importantly, if we were now then to offer a COVID amnesty, you know, to say anybody who was found to have broken COVID laws, you're now forgiven. That is as terrifying as the laws being there in the first place, because that's saying the government can sort of can criminalise aspects of daily life and then can decriminalise aspects of daily life at a whim. And I think it's just a sign of just how bizarre and how terrifying actually some of the regulations and the power they gave to the government were. That even now you're seeing somebody, being forced to go to prison for 6 months for something.
But to be fair, you said most of us broke the rules. Most of us didn't break the rules, actually. I mean, so many people couldn't see their loved ones for so long. Their loved one died without them seeing them. So it is a really serious issue, and we should never let Downing Street off the hook for that.
I agree.
So, you know, we did try and stick to the rules, and it was terribly boring and horrible, but we did, apart from you.
Well, no, I think it's the sort of case that I think everybody on a daily basis would have made some sort of minor infraction without knowing it.
I agree with you.
I
think most people, I mean, it depends on what your definition of breaking the rules is, but in a minor manner, I think that almost everyone at some stage probably overstepped the mark.
I think in criminology classes, the first thing they teach you is that everybody breaks laws all the time without knowing it, of some degree or another. So I think you then apply that to criminalising aspects of daily life, as we saw during the COVID period. I think I wouldn't be surprised if people, you know, were breaking various regulations at various different points every week without knowing it.
And very much depended on how frightened people were, right? Because that was what was clear from Downing Street, that when they were breaking the rules, they weren't frightened of COVID. Some people were frightened. Some people remain really frightened, tragically. There are still some elderly people who I know of, and friends' parents, who've never gone back to living the active and engaged life that they lived before COVID.